Okay, so welcome to another episode of the Ministry Down Under webcast. I'm joined by Karen Stuckey from Church Spot Australia.
Hi everyone.
How you doing? And today
Good.
we're also joined by two amazing ministry leaders, I'll call them, as well as musicians.
Yeah.
Steve and Ainsley Apirana. Hello.
Yes.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
How
So
are you?
excited to have you here.
Good to be here. Good to be here.
So what are you guys up to at the moment?
Isolating.
Yeah.
Yes?
Just keeping away from our families. I wish we could go and see our grandson who lives in Brisbane. Well, we live in the Sunshine Coast, and we just have to keep away from everyone. But we enjoy each other, don't we?
We do.
We do it anyway. Work together. We play music together.
Yep.
And so it's not hard.
Yeah. Speaking of music, how long have you guys been in ministry for?
Well, it depends on how you look at it. I've been doing it for about 40 years. And Ainsley and I have been, we've been in 40 years because when I've been up front, she's been administration and encouraging, praying and negotiating behind the scenes. So we've been doing music together for about 10, 12 years now on a regular.
Wow. And how did your music career start, Steve?
Mine?
Yes.
I think I started when I was a little boy. As long as I remembered, I wanted to be a singer. I
Okay.
never expected to, but when I was about 16, 17, I started a band in Christchurch. Well, I never started. We all started each other. We just were mates that were brought up wanting to sound like, there was a quartet in our hometown in Rotorua called the Howard Morrison Quartet. So we wanted to be like them for a start. And then the Beatles, and then we wanted to be like Cream and Eric Clapton and all that.
Yeah.
And we just started our own band.
Wow.
And then 1970, when I became a Christian, ever since then I wanted to be a gospel singer.
Oh,
Fantastic.
Yeah. And it just goes on. Ainsley and I met in 80-something, isn't it?
Well, we
got
together
married
in
in
81.
81.
Married in 82.
And since then we've been doing it all together, including our
Wow.
children and our grandchildren.
So Ainsley, have you been singing since you were younger, or is that something you've sort of?
Yeah, I grew up in the church, and a few of us used to sing together and have a lot of fun, but nothing serious. Until Steve and I got together, and he asked me to sing one of his songs, and so we started doing Ruth's song. Do you know Ruth's song?
Yes. Yep.
Off his first album.
Oh wow! There you go.
Yes. But so that was how we got together, and
Well, I wanted to ask you if I could take her out. And I started the first words, and I chickened out halfway through, and I said, "Would you like to sing a song of mine?" And she didn't know I chickened out. Really wanted to ask, but she sing a song with you, and so that was the beginning of a romance. I was, shaky at the beginning. I just was too scared to ask her out.
Wow.
looking 4 hours over coffee and wandering through the streets to finally
To
ask me out.
proclaim my love for you.
Oh.
Proclaim my love for you.
But there you go. 38 years. It's still going.
Oh,
So
wow,
we've done
38
all right.
years. Wow, nice. So you've got anything planned in the next 2 years for the big 40 years?
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh well, no, not really. Our son wants to get married in Italy in next year.
Wow.
Wow.
Almost years. So maybe we could make that
Yeah.
our 40-year celebration.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
You could sit on the couch together and sing the Ruth song. There you go.
Steve and Ainsley, are any of your children musical?
Yes, they are. There's 4 who are musical, and one makes films, and the other is a poet.
Wow.
Wow.
We did all right in the creative
Yeah.
side.
Nice. There's not a lot of poets around, so it's good to
Oh,
hear.
that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
So how have you found over the last 20 years, playing music in gigs has changed as far as doing ministry in churches and things like that? Do you find, like, other than the technology and obviously the advances there, like, is it pretty similar these days to what it was, say, 10, 15 years ago?
Well, for us, I think we're in the older bracket now and not so popular. So
Oh, come on.
we had to change our tack,
Yep.
which has been really good for us.
Okay.
To begin with, we started playing in cafes and clubs wherever we could get anything. So we did a bit of that for quite a few years, and then we'd get invitations occasionally to small churches, and mostly it's small churches now that we
Yep.
go, and we love that. It's you just meet such amazing people, and it's just an amazing thing for us to be able to do that. So yeah, it has changed because Steve used to be invited to festivals and big conferences and all sorts of events like that, and we don't get any of that anymore. But that's fine. We're happy, aren't we?
Yeah.
Are you happy, Steve?
Steve still
Well,
likes the stage diving.
The thing about it is that if you want to kind of progress, you've got to progress. You know, you've got to be, relevant to the young people and the trends of the times. You know, that's all there is about it. And if you're willing to do that, then you can stay current.
Yep.
But if you're not, if there are other things in your life that are more important, then you focus on that, and then you whatever you've got to offer people. And whoever wants it gets it. I mean,
I think that's good.
about not being invited to the big places and stuff like that, but it doesn't matter because what you have is relevant in God's sight.
Yes.
And so you give it to whoever wants it. So so we find ourselves in small audiences and crowds, and sometimes we just find ourselves with 3 or 4 people. But we have since discovered, since we first started, that there are more important things of your ministry than the music. So the music is only part of it.
That's it.
And, we discovered that over the years. People come and tell us that they enjoyed the music, but they enjoyed other elements of our ministry more than the music, and so we've been able to focus on that side of things more.
Yep. So when you go to churches, what's your normal presentation look like?
Yeah, but for me, Steve has an amazing story of how he met the Lord and how things happened for him in that regard. And to me, it's a very powerful story. And we've had this amazing opportunity to go to Europe and go through schools and small churches right across Europe. And so we play in front of still very small audiences, but young people who can't escape. They have to sit there and listen to us.
That's the perfect audience.
You can present the gospel in a 40-minute set because that's a class period. And sometimes we were performing 5 times a day. But just take you in a classroom, set the PA up, shuffle a group of people in, could be between 40 to 100, and then you present the gospel, and then they shuffle them out. And the whole thing with the European schools back then, back in the 90s and early 2000s, was you're going in on their English class. So they're all learning English. So they don't mind what you're doing as long as you do it in English.
Oh, wow.
But you're not allowed to say Christianity is better than any other religion.
Yep.
You're not allowed to try and sell stuff.
Yep.
And you're not allowed to, the same thing. You're not allowed to take up an offering or ask people for money. So, but apart from that, and we haven't been kicked out of any of the schools, or we haven't heard a bad report. Sometimes people will say it's a bit too over the top with the Christianity, but we share stuff that we own. That's, like I don't know how to quote scriptures and preach like a proper preacher, but I know what's happened in my life, and Ainsley knows what's happened in her life. And so much of our testimony, and especially these days, is got a lot to do with our relationship with each other.
Wow.
So, and then people can ask us questions because we know all the answers to them. They ask us
Yeah.
anything biblical, or we have to ring someone up.
Phone a friend.
We have to ring up someone, a pastor, in fact.
No, testimony is a powerful thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really is.
So, how much of the contrast of your early playing career versus your ministry career, like, do you lean on for example, for experience, like when you go into ministry and you see the contrast of like a secular band versus doing ministry stuff, do you lean on any of the experiences from your past to in life lessons and things like that you transfer into
How do you mean?
songs?
You've been playing in the secular stuff?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I guess so. But I mean, it's been the other way around. When I
Yep.
became a Christian in 1971, I just took whatever I learned into the kind of so-called Christian sector and
Yep.
kind of Christianized it, if you like. And then over the next 10, 30, 20, 30 years, 40 years, just kind of a lot of the extra baggage just drops off.
Yep.
And you ended up with what you've got is, mostly to do with your relationship with God. If you're keeping a good relationship with the Lord and with each other, a lot of it will come up. But there's a lot of stuff about the secular scene that I was afraid of when I first became a Christian.
Yep.
And so I kind of turned my back on it. And then just whenever I had to go back into that sector to do some ministry or to visit people, I became aware that God was with me, and that I wasn't weak anymore. That I could withstand that.
Yep.
It's not going to have an effect on me. So instead of me being scared of a lot of those things, I'm not. I'm no longer scared, and I can stand in that. Having said that, it's the Lord who kind of keeps you strong.
Yep.
And, like I said, our relationship is very important in that area because you're in very vulnerable situations most of your life. Your ministry life.
Yeah.
You're in front of a crowd. The ego
Yep.
can get hot, or there's all lustful things going on. There's just plenty of alcohol abuse and drug abuse and all that kind of stuff. So I guess you've got to keep yourself standing there, ain't I? Am I talking too much?
No.
Am I talking too much?
No, never. That's the whole point of why we're here.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
So
Well, Ainsley knows more than you.
yeah. So I guess that's
Yeah.
I guess that's some good advice for some of the younger Christian artists that are kind of like just starting to hit the road and starting their ministry as well. Like, is just to push into God first, and then let God be the base of what you're doing.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of temptation out there that you want to stay away from.
Yep. Yeah. So
Yes,
would there,
exactly.
so would there be any? What other advice would you give to those people, like some of these younger artists that are just starting to persevere in that space? Because it definitely is a perseverance sort of ministry, So being on the road with music, especially in Australia and New Zealand.
I guess there's a big temptation to get your relationship out of balance.
Hmm.
I think that's probably the biggest priority, because if you lose
Yep.
your relationship, then you've lost an awful
Yep.
lot. And to us, the greatest treasures are found in working on that.
Yep.
And so it gives you something to pass on to people that the world is really hungry for. Because basically everyone needs love, and
Yes.
Oh yeah.
so I guess and for our family too, we just want to make that a priority. And I think that in our day when we were growing up, it wasn't always a priority with pastors and singers. Their priority was their ministry.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that we had that out of balance, and so a lot of kids grew up not knowing where they were or what life was all about, because their fathers weren't present or their mothers weren't present in their lives because of ministry, and it's not a good balance. So So we try to make sure we keep that balance, and I think that it's actually God who wants that.
Yeah.
He believes in family, and he believes
Yes,
in
exactly.
having good relationships. That's why he came, so that to repair all those broken relationships.
Yes.
So I think that's the biggest. It's not to take away from your own relationship with the Lord, because that's the basis of everything we do.
Yep.
But in doing, I think the first priority is to keep your relationships right. Do you agree?
Yeah, of course it is. And that's been that's been the saving grace for me, because when I first started playing music, I just wanted to be famous. I couldn't care if I was rich or not, but I just wanted to be famous. I always wanted to be famous because I liked the accolades and the pat on the back and everything like that. And then when I became a Christian, I wanted to be a famous Christian singer. And, like Cliff Richards or like Andre the Crowd or Barry Norman. But I wanted to be a famous one. And I kind of made a deal with God that, I'll be good. I'll be a good Christian. Or probably I won't be bad testimony. But I mean, you don't say this to yourself, but it's kind of hovering in the back of your mind and stuff.
Yeah.
And as you go on, and then you discover God couldn't care less. He doesn't really want you famous or not famous.
Yeah.
He just wants your heart, and he doesn't care what you do. He just wants reconciliation with you. And I've been taught that, and I've come to accept it, and I've come to embrace it. It's taken years and years, but I have been taught it many years ago, and then kind of slowly accepting it has been important. And then while we've been doing stuff today, I've learned to embrace it more, because a lot of musicians actually go and do that, and especially with my talking with them, they say, well, if I get famous, well, that's just how it is. But the more that I got rid of the wanting to be famous thing, and I have to tell you that it's taken years and years and years, but as soon as I've dropped it, and I also have to tell you, every now and again it crops up again. Just think, this could be it, Steve, this could be the big thing. But I have to turn my back on it, just say, no, I'm not even worried about that. So the more that happens, the more I can get on with just serving God. And I guess that a lot of musicians will have that. They get out, not a lot of people become famous or anything like that. A lot of gospel artists, but a lot of them minister. I've bumped into people like, Barry Maguire and Chuck Gerard and stuff like that. And I've bumped into them recently, and they've all been just amazing ministers. When they were younger, when I was younger, and they were younger as well, they were my heroes. They were my gospel heroes. I wanted to be like. And then I met them, maybe 25, 30 years later, and they're just ordinary human beings, and they're going into small places, and they're still taking their ministry. And God, they might have been famous somewhere along the line, but they're not, and it doesn't even matter to them. They don't care. And I've been with Chuck Gerard in a place, just a small place, and we're singing, just trying to get people to worship God. And it's been a real blessing to me, because I think, well, this is where he's ended up, and this is where I am too. And when you look at ministry from the point of God, it doesn't matter the numbers, it doesn't matter the size, it just matters that your heart is good with God. And whatever happens, if he can put you in a crowd of 1,000,000 or 1,000 people, you just say something, and then he puts you in a crowd of 4 or 5 people, you just say the same thing.
Yep.
And if what you've got is worth anything, it'll work anywhere.
Yep.
Am I talking too loud? No.
No. No, I think that.
You're all good.
Yeah, I think that's true. That sometimes a more intimate venue's better anyway for communicating a message, because I think, especially my experience of going to large Christian festivals, usually I'm there to just have a good time rather than hear what's being sung or performed, or even being said. And some really deep things have been said, and I've just missed it because we're too busy being teenagers, and
Yeah.
Whereas other times when we're sitting down in smaller groups at different events, you're not distracted by your mind. It's kind of like you can hear the messages. So,
Mm.
I think that's very true.
Yeah.
So yeah. So what I was just wondering, what's your favourite song that you've ever written?
That what?
What is your favourite song that you have written?
I have written.
Yes.
Well, you've never heard it. No one's heard it.
Come on.
Oh.
My
What is it?
favourite song that I've written, I wrote it many years ago, and I wrote it on the spot. I was putting my son to bed, and
Yep.
I invented a song called Stevie's First Day at School. And it took about 30 minutes. I had to wake him up so that he can still hear the rest of the song. He was falling asleep. And it was starting from the minute he woke up to the minute he got back and went back to bed again. It was just me describing his day. It wasn't going to
wow.
for another year, but that was the best song I ever written, and I haven't been able to write another one. My favourite one that I do of myself that I haven't written, but is Something Beautiful.
Oh, I love that.
Bill Gaither's song, and I slowed it down many years ago.
Yep.
There was an evangelist in Christchurch, New Zealand, called Marcus Ardern, and he ran a school of evangelism, was it? They ran a school of evangelism, and there was about 40, 50 in that class, and he asked me to sing a song.
Yeah.
Brother Steve, can you sing us a song? And I sang Something Beautiful, but I did it really slow because I've been singing it in my worship times. And he really liked it, and everyone else, so I thought, I might sing that as an item. So I did it, and then I added a little kind of chorus to it that I got from another chorus. He gave me Beautiful Ashes, All the Joyful Morning, and I just kind of jammed. I've done that with a lot of songs.
Yep.
Jamming two different parts together and laid claim on it. But those have been the song. That Something Beautiful is the song that is my testimony song, and I share a lot of schools when I go there about being beautiful, because I had a beauty complex when I was a kid, because I was known as the ugly duck in my class. But anyway, I share about that. So that's my song, that my favourite one that I haven't written, and I don't really have a favourite of the ones that I have. Well, they're all different songs. I love Inevitable because it's a funny song, which I started it off as a joke, and then it turned into a song. And there's another song two songs that I've written just recently on my last album, and one's called When I'm With You, and the other one is called This Wretched Man. When I'm With You is about I don't care what happens, God, as long as we're good, as long as you and I are good. And when I'm feeling terrible, I'll go somewhere and sit down and say, where are you, Lord? And the Lord turns up. And the other one is about a man who's just come to the end of his life and realised he's made all the wrong decisions, and calls out to God. So that one's called Wretched Man. Just in case anyone wants to hear it, it's called Wretched Man. It's on my album, and I've got buckets of them underneath my bed. Nobody wants them, but I'll have boxes of them under my bed.
Is it on? It's on.
And then the other song called When I'm With You.
Is it on iTunes
Ask Ainsley about that.
and those locations?
Yeah, they're on iTunes.
All right. Well, we'll link it below then,
Yeah,
so people can check it out.
Yeah.
and
Ainsley, you write songs as well, do you?
Yeah, I do.
Do you have a favourite as well?
Well, when you asked that question, the song that came to mind was the one I wrote for my mother,
wow.
because it's really special to me. So my mum died about 20 years ago now, nearly.
20?
Well, it's 19 and a bit. So
time flies when you're dead, doesn't it?
Steve's got a sense of humour.
Does he? Yes, he does.
Yes, he does.
I was going to get to that. We'll get to that in a minute.
Sorry.
Okay.
So she was sick for a while, and so while she was sick, I wanted to tell her how much I loved her. So I wrote a little book of prose for her and put photos with it to tell her.
Oh, wow.
And then after she died, Steve said to me, "You should make that into a song." And I said to him at the time, "Oh no, that's too hard. It's got so many words." But the thought wouldn't go out of my mind. And
Wow.
so, a few months I worked on it and came up with a song which is called Cappuccinos and Vanilla Squares, and
Nice.
it's written for my mum who used to take me for a cappuccino and a vanilla square.
Oh, wow.
Aw.
There you go.
No, they used to go shopping at Myers, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
They used to go
Oh,
shopping at Myers. You have Myers in Melbourne?
yes. Yep. And they
Well,
have
they used to go
the
shopping at
cafe?
Myers.
Yeah, they have a
Yeah.
cafe. But
Yeah.
the single in was the cafe she'd take me to.
Oh, yes. Yep.
Aw.
They've still got that here. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's still around.
Yeah. Oh,
That's the
wow.
name of one of her albums. Ainsley's album is called Cappuccinos and Vanilla Squares.
Yeah.
And, you
So
can,
that's
and that,
on iTunes.
that's all on there too. We'll have to link all of them below so people can check them out. So,
Yes.
really good.
Yeah, if you Google that, they'll come up with all the songs. They used to be on our website, but they're not now because there's no
We
website.
haven't got a website now.
So, anyway, all right, let's go the other way around. Steve, what's your favourite song that Ainsley's written?
Well, that's very interesting to say because she's written 2 songs about me.
Aw.
There you go. All right, let's rephrase the question. What's your favourite song that's not about you? That's written.
Well, we're working right now on a song called "Jesus, I Want to Give You Thanks," which is one of the first songs she ever wrote. And was it?
No, the other one. It's I Trust in You. Is that the one?
But no, Jesus, I Want to Give You
Okay.
Thanks. That was
Yeah.
on the same
Okay.
album, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus, I Want to Give You Thanks. And we recorded it. And right now we're just working on acousticizing the songs, so it's just so the 2 of us. So it's not so much electric. You don't need a band. So that's the one that I really like. Jesus, and all it is Jesus, I want to give you thanks. It's just about being thankful, and then you go to the other end of the spectrum, which is another song that you wrote called "I Trust in You," and it's about being worried about things, being scared about things, and just saying, "Well, in the end, I trust you." I love Ainsley's songs because a lot of them, her songs, are scripture, and then the rest is testimony. Which with that last song is "I Trust in You." She says, "No matter what happens, I trust in you," and then she'll say, "Well, this happens whenever that happens, and these things I get scared, but then I come back to I trust in you."
Yeah.
Simple songs, and actually, there's about 4 or 5 other ones of that. But the main thing I like is singing with Ainsley. Doing stuff with her, and giving my ideas to her stuff because her stuff is precious to her. My stuff is precious to me.
Yeah.
And kind of working our musicianships together.
Yep.
Because when we first started together, I didn't have much respect for her as a musician because she never showed a lot of the musical side of herself. But when I started giving her leeway into what I thought my ministry was precious, and I thought, I don't want you to water down my ministry. But, well, you have all these things that you think are precious, but they're not. And so when I started letting her ideas come in, I'm thinking, "Oh, where'd you get all these ideas?"
That's good.
And in the end, we kind of contribute to each other's songs equally. Do you think we equal now, or
Fairly equal.
fairly equal? So that's not bad.
Yeah.
Fairly equal is a lot better. But what was the question again? I've forgotten.
I think you've answered the question.
That's what I like about.
Yeah.
That's what I like about us doing it together.
Yeah. So I was going to say, on that same vein, Ainsley, what's your favourite song of Steve's?
My favourite song of Steve's is a song called "I Can See Your House From Here."
Okay. Yep.
And it's an amazing song because it came out of a funny situation he was in at a camp. But it's the most deep and amazing song. It brings tears to your eyes because the final line is just so amazing because it's, well, you have to listen to the words to
These questions and many more will be answered. As soon as you get a copy of my album,
That's it. Everyone's got to get a copy. Download every single song. Just get down there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, pause the video, click on the links, and then come back. No, that's good.
songs I wrote about you.
yeah, I like that one too.
She does a lot of the songs I wrote about her.
It depends. What are the words?
Are some of those not able to be recorded?
No, he wrote a beautiful song about me. It's got my middle name in it because my actual first name is not very easy to put in a song.
Yeah, you got no rhyme with it.
Yeah.
But you know the secret about that is you put the name in the middle of the line, then you don't have to rhyme it.
Ah, yeah.
True.
Or actually, you could be really challenged to find words that rhyme with it, like Paisley.
Yeah, but that's all.
I used to call Paisley ringlet.
Did you?
So there you go.
I won't tell you what. You have a name like Apirana, everyone uses it all over the place.
So what's I guess your favourite memory or favourite place that you've been to in your travels around the world? Like what's a really vivid memory of a place that you've done ministry in?
Well, there's a few of them.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one. There's a prison in New Zealand.
Yeah?
A prison in New Zealand. I did a prison tour back in 2000, was it? And just singing to prisoners who are just really, hanging out for company and compassion.
Yep.
That was an amazing thing. I was staying at a festival in Holland where people didn't understand what I was saying. And, so I had to talk real slow.
Yeah.
Had to talk real slow. But, having said that, the Dutch people, they speak English really well.
Yep.
And Czech Republic, I love the Czech Republic. But I just love the people there. And they're to me, they seem very humble. But we went back, we were there, when we were there in 95. We were there in 95, so it wasn't very long since the wall had been come down, the Iron Curtain.
Yep.
And so a lot of around Czech Republic and what was the other one? Dresden. Dresden was an amazing. So in terms of places, that has been an amazing thing. But in the Czech Republic, we sang a Beatles song, and then everyone started singing along with us, and it was just
wow.
almost like a hymn, It wasn't a hymn; it was a Beatle love song, but they just sang.
Yes.
It really touched us. We were very touched by it.
Yeah.
Wow.
But singing also, myself being Māori from New Zealand, singing on a marae, which is a little kind of an area where they all gather, singing on that and them asking you for your songs and requesting it, and it's just being encouraged by your own race, your own family. That's been a real blessing.
Yeah.
Wow.
But,
Me, definitely Scotland and Europe are my favourite place. We've met some amazing people that we're still in touch with.
Yeah.
And to me, the opportunity of going to Europe was quite incredible, really, because it was back in 95. Steve had a phone call. Well, actually, I think it was me. I had a phone call from this guy in Holland, and he wanted Steve to go for 3 months to Europe. And I said to him, well, he can only come if his family come too. And
Well, that's pretty good.
it was a pretty big ask, but
Yeah.
he said yes,
Oh,
which
that's
is
so
the
good.
most amazing answer, and it's been the most amazing ministry for us.
We've been there 5 times now. Right?
Yeah, we've been back many times, and really, to me, it's the ministry that brings out the best in us.
Yep.
And it's just been an amazing thing for us. And like, we took our 3 kids and travelled all over Europe and England and America.
Wow.
And, you know, at the time you think, oh, we're taking our kids out of school for 6 months, but they look back and that was such a significant thing for them to have experienced. Well, for instance, their dad giving his testimony 5 times a day for 3 months.
The same one, same thing. They can quote it themselves. They know my testimony up. Yeah, that's right, Sarah.
That's it.
But you know that it's an amazing thing for your family to experience. I mean, that's only the very tip of the
America
iceberg.
was good though.
But we had a fantastic time everywhere. And the last trip we did with our kids, our 2 youngest decided they wanted to come with us.
Yeah.
And they were in their 20s. And we said to them, yes, you can come, but you have to sing.
No, wow.
We supported them through it was about 5 months through Europe, maybe a bit less. And we had the most incredible time. It was really, really special, and they just did so well. And honestly, the kids, especially because we're going into schools, and the kids just thought they were absolutely
Yeah, they liked it better than us.
Yeah.
We tried to get them to do more, but they just wanted to.
Yeah. All right.
Can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear the trains. That's fantastic. Oh, real life going on outside. It's amazing. It's like,
Through our living room.
America was good. I was very surprised when we went to America that how humble a lot of the people that we met. We went to a place in Pennsylvania, and they treated me like Billy Graham, and I'm thinking, what? You know, I kind of think that, you know, when you go to America, they know it all, they've got it all, but they were kind of like saying, oh, can you pray for me, or I need this and I need that. And that's very humbling. But then you find it in a lot of places. We went to Nepal, and the people asked, you know, they'd come up to me and put my hands on them and say, pray. And it's weird. You feel like I said, you feel like Billy Graham, eh? But, you know, having said that, there's so many other places that we've been to that we should write a book or something, eh?
Yeah. That'd be good.
Now you're in isolation.
Hey, just one question, Ainsley. Like, while you were travelling, a lot of us are homeschooling our kids for the first time. Have you got any tips for homeschooling kids?
Send them to school.
Oh, we
I was
can't.
a dreadful homeschooler, absolutely dreadful.
Yeah.
I was totally unsuccessful. So the times we were overseas, the first trip, I made them write a diary. Well, they have got a diary, but it's not as complete as it should have been. The next trip, I totally gave up, and they just did whatever they wanted.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. I think we're all in the same basket right now. So,
I'm gone now. I'll tell you the truth. I'll tell you all the real secrets. No.
Oh, here we go.
The thing about going away is, I forgot. Ask me that question.
Hang on.
Wow.
Big set of drums.
Yep.
And guitar over there, and guitars there.
Trophies?
So we have concerts here. Angela, we've got a little stage built behind us.
That would be so much
So we have
fun.
home concerts here about once every 2 months. We don't want to make it too often.
Have you
We can only fit 50 people here.
Have you thought of doing one online and putting the iPad in? You should put the iPad in the corner and do something online.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we will. One of these days, we've got to do something after this. We've got to do a live feed singing the Maori New Zealand national anthem.
Oh, wow. There you go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, there you go.
Wow. So so once you get out of quarantine, what's your next adventure?
Well, we've had to cancel. Well, we're supposed to be in Canberra right now,
Yep.
and so that's cancelled. And I don't know how long it's gone. Someone still wants us to go to Sydney and Melbourne in June, July. So we might be doing that, carrying on. You know, they're just kind of holding off.
Yeah, tentative at the
Can't
moment.
do anything. Well, we won't go.
Yep.
But the next plan was to go to New Zealand in October, November. We had a tour planned for there and a recording session with one of my old friends who used to write all the choruses for our little group, church group when we were 20 years old and stuff. And so he's doing an album. And so we're going to be doing that. And we were supposed to go back to Holland to do the European tour at the end of this year in September, but that's been put off. And we might end up doing that next year. So not a lot's happening, but basically our ministry is based around where we want to be. Because we don't get a lot of invitations, we just go where we want to go.
Yep.
And so we go to where our children are and our grandchildren, and we just check out with churches, oh, we're going to be in this area. Would you like us to come and do something for you? And I think, oh, not really. But, well, they think that, you know, they remember from the old days, and they say, well, how much it cost? And I say something, oh, no, just do a whip around or what. They say, oh, yeah, we can handle that. And so, you know, they accept it on that level, which is fair enough. You know, you don't want to have, you know, too many high overheads. So, and that works out good. You know, we might do 4 or 5 churches in Melbourne, or just do a few home concerts. And while we're there, we stay with our grandchildren, our children, or they got a couple of grandchildren there living with them too. So we go and see them all in one big bang, and we have a look around Melbourne, and then we enjoy, and then we go to some of the churches there. I've been going to a church in I've forgotten where it is. It's in I don't know all the suburbs of Melbourne, but we'll go and visit, and then we'll go and go to the MCG and all that kind of stuff. Have a look around, and then we'll work our way down. We'll go to camping grounds. We'll get a camper van. We're trying to save up for a camper van, and exchange accommodation for a couple of nights of entertainment. And that's been really good for us too, because you meet a lot of people that are kind of our age that are just wanting a little bit of entertainment, you know, before dinner. So we'll go what they call the happy hour, and a lot of the in the camping grounds, and they just advertise that there's a happy hour down at the forward at an area, and Ainsley and I will just set up and we'll do some covers, and we'll do quite a bit of our own stuff, and then we might get two nights of entertainment there and 3 nights of free accommodation, so that we work our way around. And then we do like get involved in the churches, and sometimes we'll get involved with some organisation, Youth for Christ, or I've forgotten what they're called, Forge. And then you'll do ministry stuff like on those other days, and then work our way home. We did that for about 4 months, which took us all through the Aboriginal communities at the back of Ayers Rock and all those places. That was an amazing experience for us. But we've hired camper vans, and they just cost so much. So we're just praying for a...
I'll tell you a little trick with camper vans is, I think, if you just want it for a few days at a time, you can actually, they've got a relocation service, and sometimes you can get a free one if you just take it from A to B in a certain time frame. So, but that doesn't always suit everyone's plans, of course. And,
no, that doesn't suit us. We've tried that. We've actually done it. We've done it years ago, but not doing ministry stuff. We were just travelling from Christchurch to Auckland.
Well, that's right.
And we took this camper van, had a great time. But you've got to be up there in a week.
That's it. That's it. So you got to move reasonably fast. So, oh well, if you ever, I was going to say, if you're in Melbourne, you can always stay here. We're out in the eastern suburbs in Wanturna, so feel free to stay here. In Wanturna, so in Melbourne, yeah, eastern Melbourne. So down towards Ringwood, out that way.
Ah, good one.
Yeah. So yeah.
No,
Oh, well, look, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, and we'll organise a concert. We'll get some people around, pass the hat around, and look after you.
Well, that's another thing that we're doing it now at the moment is house concerts. There's a lot of, there's a lot of demand for house concerts because people don't have to have a lot of money for you, and they'll have a meal or barbecue or party, and we always take our own little PA system and just set it up anywhere.
Cool.
And we can entertain, we can minister and stuff like that, but house concerts have been one of the most popular with us.
Yep.
Because you don't need a lot of people there.
My friend Andrew Bryce organised one. He was going away to join the army band, and we did a carport concert when we built a stage in the carport and had like 10 bands, and like it was pretty full on, but it was great fun, And great atmosphere too, because it's just a small group of people,
Because I remember years and years ago seeing you, Steve, when you came to Adelaide. It was
Steve Grace.
yeah.
Was it Steve Grace?
I think so. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes,
We were
it
doing a whole
was.
tour together. That was great.
Yeah.
Doing ministry with Steve Grace was an amazing thing for me. Just it got me known around the country a lot more.
Yeah.
Ainsley's back.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that was quick.
It's really nice to chat and get to know you two a bit. We'll have to have you talk next time, answer our questions.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
I was saying to Steve that when you have a house concert sometime soon, you should have the iPad up there streaming.
Yeah, we'll do an iPad concert.
That's it. That'll be
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
Sounds great. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be great. All right. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for your time today. Like, it's such a
Pleasure.
blessing. And I've spent many hours listening to your tunes on YouTube, especially.
Yeah.
And it was just the other day I was listening to the Something Beautiful song, and it just chills me out and mellows me out. So
Oh, good one.
I just love that arrangement.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Very
So thank you
talented.
so much, both of you, for joining us. And everyone, make sure you click on the links below and buy their albums and
Yes.
get into their songs. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yes,
All right then.
Fantastic. Thanks so much.
Okay.
God bless you.
Cool.
Bye.